Good morning. I'm Nick. I'm autistic and also have ADHD. Today is a public holiday and I don't like public holidays. Why? Because there are more humans out on the roads. Today's topic? Driving. I'm going to be upfront here and confess to one of my biggest areas of anxiety. Basically, it's a downright fear of road vehicles. Not so much the vehicles themselves, but those behind the wheels. My distrust of humans is very great. And people behind the wheels of cars, no, they terrify me. I'm convinced that, they're either on drugs or they're drunk or they're talking on their phones or basically doing anything but paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing. I read stats and then that's it. It's stuck in my mind. This is a dangerous thing. Roads are dangerous. People are dangerous. That's it, full stop. EMDR has helped me to a point. I am able to leave my house in a vehicle with some limitations. I can drive on certain roads within a specific radius of my house, but it has to be in the right weather conditions and at the right time of day or particular days of the week. Like, I don't like to drive on weekends because I know that there's going to be more people on the road at weekends, not just regular local people driving around, but there's going to be tourists everywhere. Vintage is a time of year that is terrifying too, because you have all these massive trucks running 24 hours a day, picking up empty grape bins and going out to vineyards and picking them up when they're full and shuttling them back and the back and forth. So there's this 24 an hour a day shuffle of big trucks driving at the maximum speed limit. So being on the roads when they're about is terrifying. So I try to avoid going out during vintage, or if I do have to go out, I will go on dirt, obscure back roads that aren't anywhere near vineyards. It's just awful. I have to rely on checking online before I go anywhere different or new. I have to look out for roadworks. I check up to see whether there's any scheduled roadworks, any maintenance, any accidents, any areas of slowness, or any other disruptions. There are certain towns and suburbs I won't go to because I can see that traffic is always slow in them. That means there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people. So, I'm not going there. There's too many people. Not going to happen. I'm also absolutely terrified of multi-lane roads, so motorways, freeways, highways. No, they scare me witless. I like quiet, dirt roads where the only thing I need to look out for are potholes, kangaroos, emus, wombats, and injured wildlife. Just I can potter along nice and slowly, doing my own little thing. And I prefer anyone who's driving me to do exactly the same thing. The city and the suburbs are basically the stuff of nightmares. Because to feel comfortable on a road, I need a minimum of at least 50 meters between myself and any other vehicle. Preferably 100 meters. But this just is not practical. It doesn't work around. I can't have one of these flashing signs on my roof. Stay away 100 meters all the way around me. I wouldn't be allowed to. It's not fair. It's one of the reasons I have to live in the country, that I can't live in the burbs, because there's just too much traffic. and it's stinky and disgusting as well. When I did used to live in town and try to drive, I would easily become completely overwhelmed. Now, back then I had no idea I was autistic. I just had found it too difficult. All this traffic, all these people, too much. So I'd basically drive for 10 minutes, duck into a side street, get out of my car, take a few deep breaths, need to calm down, smoke a cigarette, because I used to smoke back then, gave up years ago, get back in the car, drive another 5 or 10 minutes, no, stop, got to get out, have another cigarette. So it would take me forever to get anywhere. And then there were some days when it was just too much. I could not handle the driving. So I'd pull up, park in the side street, walk to the nearest bus stop, get on a bus. It might take me 2 or 3 buses to reach my destination, where I would always be late. And then I would bus back, and I'd be so stressed by the whole event, I'd completely forget to actually stop and pick up my car on the way home. So I'd get home and my husband would say, well, where's your car? And I'm like, oh, God, I've parked it in some random side street somewhere or other, and I'd have to remember where it was, and then he'd take me out in his car and we'd have to try and go back home. And, you know, I couldn't do it if it was certain times of day, if it was going to be peak hour and there was a lot of traffic, or there were any right turns involved. And no, it became unbearable. I also have this, what I now see as an autistic need to drive the same routes in the same lane at the same time of day. And I get very upset if there are roadworks or any other delay or anything that makes me deviate from that route at that point. It's just hopeless. I don't deal with it. I do not cope with it at all. I have complete and utter meltdowns over this. This means that most people just cannot handle having me as a passenger. You know, I'm screaming, I'm carrying on, particularly if it's wet, it's rainy, or if I don't think they're driving right or they're too close to other traffic. I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm bawling my eyes out, I'm curled up in a ball in the whatever seat I'm in. I've got my eyes closed, so, you know, I don't have to see all the horror that's around me. So, you know, it's just, I'm most people say, please, can we not take you? It's one of the reasons I don't go out very often. I can't handle that. Excuse me, I need a drink. So if I need to go into the city for medical appointments, I need to be sedated. And I'll take a blindfold, keep a blindfold in my handbag so that I can blindfold myself, because I know that the cities are just beyond me. And now they're building all these big expressways to make travel back and forth to and through and around the city. That, you know, all these they're terrifying. I cannot deal with them. So it is. I joke that I need to have a brown paper bag over my head, and I'll just put a smiley face on it, and, you know, that's fine. Sedate me with a brown paper bag. And so if you ever see a person riding around in a passenger seat of a vehicle with a square brown paper bag on her head, well, that's probably me. It's my only way of being able to get from home to a medical appointment, you know, in one piece. Particularly if I have to have surgery or something and I'm not allowed to take, some Valium en route. In actual fact, it's taken a long, long time, like over 20 years, for me to be comfortable in a car with someone. And it's only one person. So I have this poor one person who can tolerate me as a passenger, and that I will actually be comfortable, or as comfortable as I can be, being in a car with. And this person is so acutely aware, having known me for that long, of how debilitating my anxiety about vehicles is, that he went out and he purchased himself a four-wheel drive ute. He got rid of his sedan and got a four-wheel drive ute, because I like to be high up off the ground, and I like to, as I said, go the back way wherever possible. So he had to buy a vehicle so that we can get out and about, and to try and get me to go to other places, because I do like to be outdoors. I do like to go to conservation parks, and I like hiking, and I like camping, but I can't get there on the routes that normal people drive. I just have to plan these really wonky, windy, twisty routes. So he had to get a vehicle that was able to do that so he can get me out. I've got this thing that if I'm in a low down vehicle, I might get sucked under a truck. And I got that because my grandmother told me a story about that when I was a little kid, about being in a small car, being sucked under a truck. And that's it. So, I don't like driving near trucks because I might get sucked underneath. So I need to be in a high vehicle. I cannot be in a vehicle if it's raining. So, no, I can't go back to England. I may be born there, but, I'm not blooming well going back there because they have a lot more rain. It's a bit drier in South Australia. We do have rain, but, it's rather not in the rain, or because it slows things down. It interferes with your vision. You need further braking distance and all that sort of stuff. And I might know these things, but I'm quite convinced that nobody else on the road knows these things. And nobody else on the road knows how to leave an appropriate braking distance. And they're not aware of, I just don't trust other drivers. I'm convinced that they really are under the influence or just not paying attention. I get most of my stuff delivered at home. I'll order online and get stuff delivered at home because obviously this problem makes it very difficult for me to go out and buy things. And I hate shops anyway. So most of my food stuff is delivered. But I still need to go out and do little quick top-ups. So I have 2 supermarkets that I'm happy to go to. Closest one's about 20 kilometres away, but, on a windy road, and I can pick the right time of day and the right day of the week to go there. And I also know dirt back roads, so that's okay. Another one's about 34 kilometres away, but they've got a nice little park nearby there that my dogs really, really love. So we'll do a 70k round trip to pick up like 2 or 3 items from a supermarket, but so that my dogs can have a nice little walk in the park. They really, really like that. But even though I go to those supermarkets, I'm particular about where I park. I can't just pull in and park at the nearest parking bay. Nope. I have this one I will park in, and this one I will park in, and I will park at the one supermarket, and that one I will park there or there. And at certain times of the day, with the shade in the right direction, I like to park there. All the other hundreds of car parking spaces, nah, don't like them. Don't want to park there. That gets me in quite a tiz if I can't find one of my car parking spaces if they're all full. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Where am I going to park? How am I going to do this? How am I going to deal with it? And I will do laps, and, I don't like turning right on these busy roads, so I will go lefts and lefts and lefts and lefts and lefts, and then into another car park across, where there's actually a feeder that I can go through, and then I'll do laps of that car park and then wiggle my way around, and I get really, really distressed. I cannot handle traffic behind me. So it's not just how far away the vehicle in front of me is or either side of me in the lanes. It's behind me. So anyone that's come closer to me, I start to pull over. So I hate being tailgated. And even if people are driving, I don't know, 3 or 4 car lengths behind, for me, that is way too close. So I will need to find the nearest place that I can pull over, even if it's in the end of someone's driveway. And I will also require this of somebody else who's driving me. No, just pull over. Find the first place you can, pull over. Let that beep, beep, beep person, and I will curse, and I will swear, and I will be really stressed, and I will be calling them all the names under the sun. And it's probably just a little old lady going to the supermarket, but she's 3 car lengths behind me, and that's just unbearable. Can't happen. Got to go away. Pull over. Let them pass. I have this huge proximity issue. But I love flying. And gliding. Gliding is the best. I don't like cars. I don't like motorbikes. But being in a plane, thousands of feet in the air, without any power, is cool. Maybe I should take up hang gliding or something and hang glide to the supermarkets. That'd be much more sensible than being in a car with all these billions and billions of drugged out, drunken, distracted and dangerous humans. Don't you think? Thank you for listening to my rant. Be well.